Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a kind of golden limbo? You have a job that pays the bills, maybe it even allows for some luxuries, but deep down, you know you're trading your most valuable hours for a security that's never truly secure. You watch time go by, you watch the years pass, and that idea of building something of your own, of generating an income that really depends on you, remains just that, an idea. And the most frustrating part isn't not having the dream. The most frustrating part is having it, feeling it within reach, but never finding the moment or the energy to take the first step. Because when your workday ends, when you get home, the last thing you want to do is sit in front of another screen and start another shift. And so, the dream becomes another source of stress, an inner voice whispering that you're not doing enough. But what if I told you the key isn't about working more, but about working in a radically different way? What if there was a method to build that future without having to destroy your present? Today, I want to talk to you about an approach that completely changes the game, a method that doesn't ask you to quit your job, that doesn't demand you wake up at dawn on Sundays or stay up late on Thursdays. It's called the 3-3-3 method, and it's arguably the most sensible and powerful strategy I've found for anyone who wants to start generating their own income without risking the stability they already have. Because entrepreneurship shouldn't be a leap into the void, it should be the construction of a solid bridge while you're still standing on firm ground. And to build that bridge, you don't need heroism, you need a system. The first layer of this method, the first 3, is the most crucial and the most deceptive. It's about dedicating 3 hours a week exclusively to your side project. Notice, I didn't say 3 hours a day, I said 3 hours a week. This is important because our brain, when exhausted from work, tends to sabotage any attempt at productivity. If you tell yourself you'll work 2 hours every night, you'll fail spectacularly on the first day and carry that guilt for the rest of the week. But if you commit to 3 hours, a single block of time you can put on your calendar like a doctor's appointment, something shifts in your psychology. Suddenly, that task feels doable. It's a sacred space, but a brief one. It's like taking the oxygen away from laziness and procrastination. During those 3 hours, it's not about doing just anything. It's about making progress on what truly matters, on what moves the needle. And the most interesting part is, by setting such a strict time limit, your mind becomes much more efficient. You'll learn to do in 3 hours what used to take you 10, simply because you don't have the luxury of wasting time. The second 3 is what turns effort into direction. It's about identifying 3 specific, clear, and measurable actions you will execute during that week to get closer to your goal. It's not work on the business, that's useless. It's record a video for social media, send an email to a supplier, design the cover for a product. When you break down the mountain into 3 stones you can actually lift, the project stops being a mental abstraction and becomes a tangible reality. And here, a fascinating phenomenon occurs. By focusing on just 3 tasks, you eliminate the noise. You stop feeling that vague anxiety of, I have a million things to do. No, you only have 3. And if you do them, the week is a success. It doesn't matter if you didn't make progress on 20 other things. What matters is that the 3 cornerstones are in place. This surgical focus is what separates the dreamers from the builders. Dreamers see the finished cathedral and get overwhelmed. Builders see the next brick. And then we arrive at the third 3, which is perhaps the most counterintuitive and the hardest to accept. It's about having 3 projects on your radar. A primary one, which is your current source of income, your job, the one that feeds you today. A secondary one, which is that side project we're building with the 3 hours and 3 tasks. And a third one, which is a seed, an idea, something you're just exploring, a new learning, a possibility that doesn't yet have form. Why is this so important? Because when your only plan B is your side project, you tend to cling to it with a rigidity that ends up suffocating it. You put too much pressure on it. If that project doesn't take off quickly, you feel like your future is vanishing. But if you have a third option on the horizon, even if it's just a vague idea, you release the pressure. You allow yourself to experiment, fail, and pivot with much more lightness. The third project is the space for curiosity, for exploration. It could be learning about a new market, reading about a different industry, or just turning over an idea that's been circling in your mind. This third space is what guarantees you don't stagnate, that you're always planting new seeds while tending to the ones already germinating. Think of it like being a gardener. Your job is the base soil, the one that sustains you. Your side project is the plant you're carefully cultivating, watering it with those 3 weekly hours. And the third project is the seed you keep in your pocket, the one you haven't planted yet, but that reminds you there's always a new season, a new possibility. People who achieve financial freedom aren't the ones who bet everything on a single card. They're the ones who cultivate a small garden. Some plants bear fruit quickly, others take time, but while some are growing, others are blooming, and others are just sprouting. The 3-3-3 method gives you that garden structure. It takes away the pressure of having to harvest tomorrow and gives you the peace of knowing you're planting with consistency. And here, I want you to reflect on something very deep. The greatest enemy of this method isn't a lack of time, it's a lack of identity. For years, you've been told you are what you do from 9 to 5. Your job gives you a title, a place in the world, a group of colleagues. When you start building something on your own, you enter a no man's land. No one is waiting for you. No one pays you to do it. No one tells you if you're doing it right. That initial solitude is what kills more projects than a lack of money. That's why it's vital to understand that during those 3 hours a week, you're not playing to be an entrepreneur. You are being an entrepreneur. You're building a new layer of your identity. You're proving to yourself that you can create value independently of the structure that shelters you. And that proof, even on a small scale, is the foundation of a confidence that no boss can give you and no layoff can take away. We often obsess over the final result. We want to see the income now. We want to quit now. We want the freedom now. But freedom isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. Freedom is knowing you have a choice, and the 3-3-3 method gives you that choice from the very first week. The first week you complete your 3 hours and your 3 tasks, you freed yourself a little more from the tyranny of routine. You've proven to yourself that you can do it, and that is a currency far more valuable than the money that hasn't yet arrived. The money will come later as a logical consequence of consistency and focus. But what you're building now, in the shadows, while the world sleeps or gets distracted, is a character, a resilience that will serve you for everything else. I'd love to know what part of this process you find the hardest. Is it finding those 3 hours? Is it defining the right 3 tasks? Or is it simply daring to have that third project, that crazy idea you keep tucked away in the drawer of fear? Because we all have that idea, the one we dismissed as absurd, too difficult, too utopian, and maybe it's time to take it out of the drawer and put it in that third space, just to observe it, to give it a little light and see if it could become something. I'd love to know what part of this process you find the hardest. Is it finding those 3 hours? Is it defining the right 3 tasks? Or is it simply daring to have that third project, that crazy idea you keep tucked away in the drawer of fear? Because we all have that idea, the one we dismissed as absurd, too difficult, too utopian. And maybe it's time to take it out of the drawer and put it in that third space, just to observe it, to give it a little light and see if it could become something. I'd love to read about it in the comments, to know what that seed is that you're holding on to. Because by sharing it, you stop feeling alone in this process and discover that there are many others building their own bridges at the very same time as you. In the end, this isn't just about money. It's about reclaiming the feeling that your life is in your own hands. It's about reaching 60 years old and not looking back with the question, what would have happened if? It's about having a project that excites you, that motivates you, that makes you want to get up even on Saturday mornings, not out of obligation, but for the simple pleasure of creating. A job gives you security, but creation gives you life. And the 3-3-3 method is the bridge that connects both shores. You don't have to jump, you just have to take one step, then another, and then another. 3 hours a week, 3 clear tasks, 3 open horizons. That's all you need to start writing the next chapter of your story. A story where you are the author, not just a supporting character. And now, as I digest this, I invite you to keep exploring this channel. Here we'll continue talking about strategies, mindset, and all those tools that help us build a life with more meaning and more freedom. Because this is just the beginning of a much longer conversation. a conversation about how to design a life worth living day after day. So thank you for being on the other side. See you in the next video.